actually good timing. All right. Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. It is a lower body strength and core workout today. Sure do that because it is Monday. So we're going to get you started with a nice warm-up. And then we have some equipment that you will need. I have my chair here. Underneath are my 8-pound dumbbells, glute bands, your mat. That is about it, plus our body. And we're starting down here on the floor. So you can come on down here with me. And we are going to get you nice and loosened up with a bow and arrow. So come on down here. We're going to stack our legs. Weave the top underneath the bottom like so. Trying our best to keep this knee down. We'll need a little bit of space around us. If you need to do a little wiggle, stacking our hands, our arms, shoulders. Take an inhale. Then we'll exhale and cross the body into this bow and arrow. When we get to the other side, we'll reach up and over our head. Hopefully keeping your arms straight. Hopefully have a little bit more room than me. And we'll get going through 10 of these per side. So we're going to go through 10 on this first side, and then we will do 10 on the other side. Every time we open up, we'll try to exhale. And again, trying to keep this knee down. Eventually, this shoulder and arm will both be on the floor. Maybe it's not happening quite yet, or maybe on your first few. But again, we'll try to ease into it, not forcing anything, of course. And then we'll switch sides. Just going to turn around so that I can show you, still look at you guys here. And then we'll go through this, again, coming all the way around, trying to touch the floor, and then up and around the head, working with as much space as we have. Okay, so we'll get through 10 and 10 of those ones, which feel quite nice at this time in our lives, at this hour of the day. Once you're done, we are going to sit up into our infamous 90-90. Now, this is one that we have been working on, and we do work on every week in the hopes of improving this position, getting more comfortable in it. So we'll see how we feel sitting up 90 degrees at both of our knees. Bottom of the foot is in line with that other shin. And again, we're trying to sit up. If you need to lean back, that's okay. We're flipping the legs right and left, trying to sit as upright as possible. Eventually, both of your hips will touch the floor, but right now you might have one hip that's quite hiked up, and that is because you are maybe a little bit tight or a lot tight in this position, which is why we're doing it. So we'll go back and forth 10 times total. Once you are done 10, don't go anywhere because we have a couple other things that we are going to do here. The first thing is squaring off our shoulders to the side of our leg, the outside of the leg facing down. So we'll square off there, shoulders facing this way. And the next thing we're going to do is try to lift up this knee here. So we'll go through 10 of these total, lifting up the knee. Once you're done 10, the next one, the last one on this side, is trying to lift up this foot, which is a little bit more challenging, okay, because we're tapping into little muscles that most likely aren't quite ready and awake and activated yet. So if you cannot lift up that foot, if you think about that and it's not happening, lean forward, put your hands on the floor, and see if you can make that happen. Because what we're doing by lifting that foot is activating small muscles in the sides of our hips that are going to help us in our strength exercises. So we'll go through 10 like this, and then we'll switcheroo over to the other side. Remember to square off those shoulders to that outside leg, and then we'll start off with lifting up that knee there. It should not be painful, just tension. You'll probably feel a little bit crampy, some work happening in this hip. And then same thing, we'll lock this knee down. Try to lift up that foot, which I have to lean over. But the more you do this and the kind of more you get in connection with those muscles, you don't have to lean back as much, but the first few you definitely might have to. So we'll go through 10, and then we are standing up off the floor. Just gonna angle us up a little bit so you guys can come on up here and join me in a squat stance. We're standing a little bit wider than our hips. We're going to sit down into a squat, apply that pressure to the insides of our legs, and then stand up to the top, going through 10 of these total. Now, if you don't have the mobility to sit that low, feeling a little tight, we can use the hands instead of the elbows. But ideally, I would like you to get your butt down there, and we'll go through that 10 reps total of those ones with that nice pressure at the bottom. There you go. Okay, so once you are done 10, we have a few more to go through. The next one, we'll narrow up our stance, stick our arms above our head, soft knees. We're working with that overhead hip hinge. So we're trying our best to push our hips back, pull our hips forward. We'll go through 10 of these total, keeping our arms above our head. We should never see our hands because they're staying lifted above our head, not dropping down in front of our head. So we'll get going through those, 10 of them. Okay, 10 total, very nice, overhead, hip hinge. Okay, next up we have a single leg version of that exact same thing that we just did. So what we're going to do now is shift the weight all onto one leg, soft knee, and we're working with an overhead single leg deadlift. So at the top, I will drive my knee up like so. At the bottom, I'm trying to push those hips back, extend that back leg, and then pull my hips forward, getting a nice activating feeling on this standing glute. We'll feel work on that standing leg. Then the entire time, we're trying our best to keep our arms lifted. And yes, good morning balance, because there is some in here. So we'll do 10 on both sides, trying to tap into the balance, trying to not touch the floor. We'll go through those 10 and 10. All right. Very nice, very nice. All right, for the next two, we are actually headed back down onto the floor, onto our back for a dead bug. So the dead bug, this one's all about activating our ab and core muscles. We're laying on our back here as we come to an end on those deadlifts. First thing we want to do is get ourselves into this position with our wrists stacked over top of our shoulders, knees stacked over our hips, 90 degrees in the knees, 90 degrees in the ankles, and we are here with our lower back squished very tightly into the floor. What we're going to do is lower opposite arm and opposite leg, which really does take some coordination. So let's just slow down. Think about this one a little bit. Right arm, left leg, bring them back up. Left arm, right leg, bring them back up. We're trying to go through 20 reps total, alternating sides. So right side, left side, and then we switch sides. Trying our best to not move these two limbs, just those two, which does take, again, a little bit of thinking. One more happening here. A little bit of coordination this early in the morning. Good morning, brain. Good morning, body. So we'll get through these, again, 10 per side, 20 total. Now you'll note I'm keeping my legs bent. You could straighten out the legs, but the most important thing is keeping our lower back down. So we'll get through those. And then once we are done, we have one more version of this dead bug, a little different though. We're going to apply some pressure between those opposites that would be hanging out. We will squish them together like this, palm in the knee, and then we'll work with those opposite two, lowering now, trying our best to stay as tight as possible here and in our lower back, 10 per side. So again, all about your ab muscles. Ooh, and you will feel this one. This one's quite foolproof, especially if you are staying tight between your hand and your knee. Okay, so we'll get 10 on this side, 10 on the other side. And if I was to come through that screen right now and try to pull your hand and knee together, I would not be, or apart rather, I would not be able to do that, okay? Because you're holding it together so tight. So let's focus on that and think about that as we do this on both sides, okay? 10 and 10. Very nice. What is my list of exercises? Hopefully we're feeling warm. Once you are finished that one, we shall stand up to the top, and you can come on, join me up here. We are going to get you started on our first 3 exercises. Today, switching it up a little bit, we are going to go through a tricep to begin with. Although one of these exercises is much more strength focused than the other two, which is the first one. So let's start off with the strength focused movement, which is our skater squats. So our skater squats, this is not our first day at the rodeo doing these ones. What we're going to work with today is alternating reps for 20 total. So we're going to do 10 per side, but alternate right side, left side, where we lower ourselves down like this, try to pick ourselves up, and then I switch at the top here, and I go down, and I come up. So I'm having a chance to alternate legs, kind of working one side and then the other side. So we're going to start with this one. And then we have 2 other banded exercises, which will incorporate my loop bands here, that we are going to do after we're finished our first set of these skater squats, okay? So let's get this started. If you know right away that these are going to be too challenging, what we've talked about before is making these easier by elevating the floor. So I've grabbed those throw cushions, those pillows, and put them down on the floor before. okay back there. But we'll try our best to see if we can do these. Just like I was seeing if this would work with our new friend here tied up, but it's not working. So I guess I just gotta kind of let him free. This is our new mascot, Theo, and he's gonna be roaming. So wish us luck. Yes, here, I'll bring him in. I'll bring him in while you guys are doing your first set. Yes, the big lug. Okay. All right, so let's get through our skater squats, our first set. Hopefully he behaves. It's not too much to mess up in here. 20 of them total, 10 per side. And then once we are done, we're going to take our band and put it on around our heels like this. Now, I recommend a medium to like stronger strength band rather than a light one for this one. First one we're going to do is our 3-point extensions, where we're stepping out to the side, back on a 45, and then straight back behind us, trying to keep all of the weight in this one standing leg here. So what we're going to do is count 15 total, just counting every point. So that's 1, 2, 3, okay, and then we go 4. You got it, following along. So we'll get through these ones, 15 on this side, and then we'll switch and do 15 on the other. Now we know in this one it's important to feel that standing leg, that standing glute. So we want to make sure we're hinging our hips, sticking our butt back behind us as we go through these ones here. So we'll get this going on both sides, 15 over here, 15 over here, and then we're going to have one more with this band on, so do not get too excited about taking it off. As you come to an end, you can waddle your way over to one side of the mat. We're going to be working with our lateral side steps, stepping them forward and then backward in this zigzag fashion, all the way down the length of the mat. And then we'll come all the way back the length of the mat, and we'll do that 2 times. So I'm stepping wider than my hips, and then hip width. Wider than the hips, hip width. Following the zigzag angle, which is going to target different muscles in the sides, front, and back of my hips than if I was to just step sideways normally. So we'll go through this one, same rules apply. I'm sticking it out, okay, feeling tight in the glutes. And we never want to allow those feet to come closer than hip width, okay, or else we'll lose that tension on the band. So we'll get through those 2 times. There and back is 1, and we will do that twice. Taking our time with it. Okay, once you are finished, we are going to repeat this 2 more sets to make it 3 rounds total, all right? So you have 2 more chances to see how strong you can be on these skater squats. Now, with the pairing of these movements, we technically do not have any prescribed rest. So once we're finished those side steps, we will take off that band, okay? Take a couple deep breaths, maybe a quick sip of water, and then we will try to get going right onto our next set of those skater squats. The whole idea here is that those banded exercises, which you probably are feeling, are going to get a lot of activation going in your hips. On the sides of the hips, we're going to be using a lot of muscles and really feeling the back and sides of the hips. And so then when we go back into our skater squats, all the things that we've activated are going to help you out in going through your set of these ones. So hopefully you're feeling strong in them, a little bit more able to than normal. So we'll go through alternating again, 10 per side, 20 total. Let's do it. Okay, no, you're down. Very nice. Okay. So the skater squats, excuse me, we've talked about these quite a lot. We've been kind of leading up to this over the past couple weeks. Okay, just go up then. With these ones here, obviously, like I always say, safety comes first, okay? These ones are not going to work for everyone. Some of us might need to do some modifications to these skater squats to make them safer for ourselves or just overall more possible for ourselves. So again, elevating the floor, grabbing a couple cushions, towels, whatever it is, and lifting up the floor. That means we don't have to go so low, okay? Whereas if you don't have anything down there, we're coming all the way down to the mat. The other thing that we can do is just work with the negative or the lowering phase. So we can lower ourselves down, low, And then we can use that back foot to help push ourselves and reset back up to the top to make these 20, 10 per side, more manageable. All right, let's do it. Second set should be there. Okay, so we'll get through these. And once we're done, we'll go through our next set of those 3-point extensions. So the setup, we want to stand nice and tall, hip width apart, soft knees. We'll push the hips back. You should feel that tightness first to begin with. And once you do, we'll shift the weight onto that one leg, and then we'll start to work with those 3 points with that foot, essentially trying to balance. Okay, we got a little bit of balance practice in our warm-up, and we have quite a bit right here. We're trying to hold ourselves so that all of our weight is on that front leg, and we're just really lightly tapping that moving leg. Okay, you have to move this a little closer. All right, let's do it. So we'll get through our next set here. It's just this body likes to go to the camera. Okay, so we'll get through those. Again, we have our side steps that we'll work through on our second set. Okay, zigzag fashion side steps. So with these ones, if you are somebody with longer legs, you are going to be taking a little bit of a bigger step. Someone like myself with maybe a little bit shorter of legs. The most important thing is that you're not feeling like you're rocking side to side. We should, again, feel that tension in the hips the whole time. So if you feel like you're really having to kind of move your body, maybe you're stepping a little bit too far, you would benefit from a smaller step. So we'll still work with that zigzag fashion, but we will try our best to kind of narrow it out a little bit so that we're not stepping too wide out to the side. Okay, you're done. You are done. All right, let's do it. Can't you just hang out with us? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, so we'll work through these on both sides. And then, or both of those, and then we have one final set, 3 total. I know it's kind of odd. Usually we have our 4 sets is our standard sets, but we are starting off with these ones, a little bit less sets as there is quite a bit of reps, and since they're very challenging. So 3 rounds, we'll try our best to make them count. Our final set. Whoop, whoop. So you guys have about 2 minutes to finish up this part here. Last set of the skaters, and then both of our banded exercises. Okay. So we'll go through those. That's okay. You can stay there. All right. So take about 1 more minute here to get these done. Okay, the glutes, the hips, should be feeling the fire in the hips, especially after those band movements. Woo! Okay, so about 1 more minute here to finish her up. Once you're done, where are you going? Once you are done, we will grab ourselves some water, walk it off, and get ourselves set up for the next part, which is going to require that chair, that bench, that ottoman, whatever you're using. We are going to need it for the next part. Okay, very nice. Let's do it. We got the skaters. Awesome. Okay, the step backs. Perfect. So we'll work through the final set of these ones, our 3rd set. Before we move on to the next 2. Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's get this done. The side steps. As you are coming to an end, we will grab ourselves some water. Okay, I'm going to need to actually barricade this. See? There you go. Okay. Woo! So next up, we are going to be using this here chair, this here bench, for some split squats as well as some hip thrusts. So if you have this, you need to bring them out, grab it, and move it so that you can use it. I'm going to need to tie you up again, seriously. Okay, so starting out with our next part are our split squats. So you guys are going to be working with your rear foot elevated split squat, which is, again, going to require this chair. Little something like this. Back foot up, we go down, and then we go up. We're going to be pairing this one with a hip thrust, with our back, upper back on this chair, this bench, working with this guy here, back of the hips, oh yes. So let's start off with our split squats. We do want to add some weight to these guys today. We're going to be working with something a little bit different than our normal up and down. And again, we do want to be holding some weights. So I want you to grab those weights, something that you would normally use for maybe about 10 reps. We are going to be going down to 90 degrees, up halfway, back down, standing all the way up, and we'll be doing 8 of those per side, okay? So preferably we want 2 weights, one in each hand like this. Again, back foot up, we go down, halfway up, back down, all the way. That's 1 rep, okay? And you will be doing 8 of those total. So if you do not have the chair, the bench, you can use a stool or a stair in your house, or you can just put your back foot on the floor like this and work with that same half rep and then all the way up. Okay, let's do it. So if you don't have dumbbells, you can, of course, do this body weight, or maybe even find this to be challenging enough body weight. But again, I prefer you to have some weight in your hands, something to add some resistance to your body, to your leg muscles. So we can use the band, loop around the foot like this, and go through that same half rep all the way up. And then you'll follow that same 8 reps per side. On the split squats, these ones are much more challenging than they look. They sound, kind of simple, but then you want to do them, woo, and they do catch up to you quite quickly. So use this first set as kind of your assessment. We will be doing our 4 rounds total of this one, so you will have 3 more opportunities to do this, okay? And before we do our next set, we do have our second exercise, which is our hip thrust. So for this one, we preferably want to add that same weight that we were using on our split squats on our hips for this hip thrust. So I've taken both of my dumbbells and I've stacked them on top of each other while I'm still sitting up here. And then I'll lower myself down with the weights on my hips. That way I don't have to end up like grabbing them while I'm in this position. It's just overall a little bit more comfortable and safe. And then if you need to adjust, you can. We're going down. We'll push all the way up so that we're here 90 degrees at the knee. We want a strong position at the top, so we're all the way up and we're not missing out. And then we'll come down. As soon as this knee starts to kind of rock back, that's when we will push back up to the top. So the whole time I'm looking down, my chin is tucked, doing a bit of a crunch here, so that way I don't end up flaring up my ribs and arching my back. I want to keep that sort of tucked in like this, and then we'll go through our set, normal reps, okay, up and down, 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down, 15 of them total. So same rules apply if you do not have a chair, or maybe your chair kind of slides out like that and sketches you out, you don't want to use it. What you can do is the same thing, laying on the floor like this, same weights on your hips, and then you'll work through your 15 reps like that. Okay. So let's do it. So we have those 2, and we have a similar focus in these 2 movements. So what we're going to do is take some rest. Once we're finished our hip thrust, you can stay down there, you can stand up, walk it off, okay, do whatever you want to do for about 30 to 45 seconds, and then we will go back to those split squats and repeat. And you probably feel right now why we have this rest, okay, because when you're done those hip thrusts, you know you have to do the split squats again, okay, and those ones are, again, much more challenging than it looks. So we're going to give everything back here, that 30 to 45 seconds to completely rest, okay, before we go into our next round. So if you need to have a running clock, something to gauge that rest so that you take it, whether sometimes Some of us can, get a little antsy and start too early, and then we won't have as strong of a set, or maybe we'll take too long, because sometimes that's very easy to do, and then you'll rest for a little bit too long, and we won't have time to get through our rounds. All right, so we'll start our second set. Split squats, okay? 1.5 reps. So we go down, the halfway up, and then all the way up. There we go. Okay, so we'll get this going on. 8 reps total on those ones. Here we go. Okay. So we'll get through our second set of these ones and breathing through them, because you are going to need to. You're going to need something to get you through this set, and your breath is always going to help you. That exhale will always help you push out of places and reps that you don't think that you can get out of. So we'll try our best to go through that set. There you go. And then we're going right down into our, what's your problem? 15 reps. Now, for those of you who do not have dumbbells, kind of left hanging there on that first set, hopefully you gathered that you can always use your loop bands to add some resistance to these hip thrusts by adding them around your knees. This is also something that you can do if your weights are maybe a little bit too light, or if you simply don't really feel this that much. You want to make it harder and feel it more. So by adding this band around your knees like this, we're going to have the band wanting the knees in. So we have to work everything through our hips and the sides of our hips to keep those knees apart. So with or without the weights, this is going to make this feel more challenging and overall make you feel your glutes more if you're not already. So we have 15 reps total. Something else that we can do is hold the top of these reps, because we know that this is the hardest part of this exercise. And so if we pause up here and if we hold it here, we're going to be putting more work on the back side and overall just feeling this more by the time we get to the end of our 15 reps. Okay. Okay, so let's get through this. We have 2 more sets to do with this rest in between. There you go. Okay. Woo! Take the rest. Rest. Let's do it. Okay. So we're looking good for time. We have about 6 minutes to finish up our final 2 sets of these ones. So take a rest, grab your water, and then we will get going on our 3rd set, split squats. We've recently been starting with them. Today they're back kind of tucked in the middle here, so they might be feeling a little harder because we did all that other stuff before them. But remember, anytime we do anything kind of weird and crazy like this with a half rep or pausing or anything like that, it's always to make the normal reps feel easier and to get you stronger in these ones. Okay, we have to do stuff to make it more challenging. It's why we add in more time under tension. Okay, the half rep, that is a lot of extra time for your leg muscle to go through this split squat. And so next week, when we go back to the normal up and down, you'll probably feel stronger. That's what we like to think anyways. All right, so 3rd round, let's get it. These 2. There we go. Perfect, okay. So work through this 3rd set. Trying to be as smooth as possible, as consistent as possible in all of those reps. It can be kind of easy, especially on the split squat, for example, to You know, first reps are nice and slow and controlled, and we go all the way down, and we're working with a nice range of motion. Then we get more tired as we go through those 8, and we start to maybe not sit so low, or, you know, kind of rush through it. And we know that that's not going to give us as much as those first couple that I showed you. So we'll try to get all the way down there, work with that full range, and not rush through our set. These ones are meant to take longer. So take your time with the third round. Okay. So we're going into these ones. So both of these exercises are glute-focused exercises. They both work the back of your hips, your butt, but they work them in a little bit of a different fashion. That being said, it's really important that you're feeling that. Okay, you're feeling the glutes, feeling the back of the hips, especially on the hip thrust. Okay, because the split squats we get through. But by the time you get here, we know that these ones, you know, they can be a little bit easy, and they can be just kind of going through the motions. So that's not what we're here for. We're here to get the most out of these sessions, which means that we need to feel every single rep. Okay, so if you're not feeling it, a couple things you can think about. Here and here, you can try to bring closer together. So that's that little crunch I was talking about, or that pelvic tilt. That's going to put you into more of an able position to actually use your glutes. So that's number 1. If you're not doing that, then you should. Number 2 is, again, hitting that top range of motion. So if I'm doing this and I kind of stop down here and I'm like, down here, I'm never working these the way they need to be worked, because I'm not hitting that top point, that really squeezed point of the rep. So we'll try to do that. Last thing that we can do is simply just pause, okay, and hold and just think about it. Use that mind to muscle connection to focus your efforts on your glutes and on the right muscles. Okay, let's get it. Final set. Okay, so we have 1 more to go. About 2 minutes left there. Very good. Okay. Woo-hoo-hoo. Very nice, my friends. Okay. So we'll get through our 3rd set. Take a little bit of rest. And then we have 1 final round. Number 4 of these 2, and then we'll move on to the last part of our lower body strength. We got core. We are done on this Monday, on this rainy Monday. So I'm going to give you about just under 2 minutes to finish up, because that's when you should be starting to at least talk about the last part, which, yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let's do it. Last set. So let's take about 1.5 minutes here to finish up our set, which is pretty much just enough time if you just started your set to finish it up. Remember that we will have about 2 minutes of time between now when we finish the set and when we start the last part. So if you need to take a little bit extra time when I start explaining the last part, if you're still working on this part, that's okay. Because some of us might take a little bit longer, you know, especially in those hip thrusts. You might want to, especially in this last set, really go with a bang and really feel everything back there. So you might be pausing, you might be holding, you might be slowing down, which is going to make you take longer to complete the set. So it's all good. Whereas others might not need to do that. All right, so what we are going to do for the next part, as you are tripling to a finish, coming to an end, we are going to need all this stuff still. Okay, so I will be using this chair. We're going to be working with a squat. We're going to sit down to the chair, so don't put him away quite yet. We will also need your dumbbells and your band. Woohoo! For the last part here as well. So, final part. How are we doing here? So good. All right, we're almost there. We are almost there. You're being so good. So good. Better than now that I untied. Had him tethered up over there. Okay. All right, so as we finish that part, we are going to move on to the next part, which is going to start off with a single leg hip thrust. So we're essentially going right back down to where you just finished down there to work our single leg hip thrust. Now with this one here, we're going to do it the same way we did it last day, if you were here last week, where we are incorporating some core into it by having our feet very close, much closer than that normal hip thrust. We'll come up to the top to start, and then we'll extend this leg out so that it stays straight. Both legs are in line, and then we go down, and then we push up, and we'll be going through 12 reps, 12 on this side, where I'm trying to keep this leg so it doesn't lift up like this. I want to keep it extended out, which is going to use a lot more muscles through my core and hips to do that, okay? So we're doing this one, the first one here, 12 per side, okay? Now, if you're feeling that this one's really hard, okay, in the chair, you can't quite get your hips up all the way, something that you can do is try doing this one on the floor. It's going to make it more possible, and again, more able for you to hit that top range of motion. So if you can't get your hips all the way up, then you're probably better off to come down here and try to do this one on the floor like this, okay? Let's do it. So we're going through 12 and 12. How's those ones? Very nice. The hip thrusts, okay? So again, another glute focused exercise. Just feel that one in the back of the hips. This one is a very demanding leg exercise, okay? It is much harder than it looks, and we already know this because this is not our first time doing these single leg hip thrusts. So there is no shame. You need to go down onto the floor, okay? Because if you cannot get your hips all the way up and actually feel that glute, then doing this off the chair is not actually going to give you as much as doing it off of the floor. And I'll say that because I know this one's hard. Okay, so we'll get through those 12 and 12, and then we have that squat that I was talking about. So what we're going to do is have some weight added to this. I'm going to front load my dumbbells, holding them up like this, and I'll bring myself so that my chair is behind me, my bench. I will be sitting down onto that bench in this squat stance with my feet a little wider than my hips, slight angle out on the toes, down onto the chair, but I'm not relaxing. Okay, I want to stay tight and feel my hips and my glutes tight, and then stand up from that chair. So we're going down and just kind of sitting there, but not relaxing, okay? And then we stand up to the top. So a couple things that we want to avoid, because your body's always looking for ways to make things easier. Something that it will do in this one is this whole feet lifting up momentum situation. So we want to avoid that, because that is, again, putting too much weight on that chair and taking the tension off of the legs. So as we come down and we're just lightly tapping, you should feel tight in your legs, okay? Not like you are sitting down to, on your couch or on your desk or whatever it is, where you kind of just sit down. We want to stay tight in the legs and then stand ourselves up. So we're going through 15 reps. Did I mention that? No, but now I did 15 of them, which means you probably have a few more to go. And then we are doing this again with no rest in between. We are following through 3 more rounds, back to back to back. Little to no rest, okay? So if we need to take any, it will be now, once we're finished our squats. Quick sip of water, okay? A couple deep breaths, and then we will try to go into our next set so that we can get through 3 more sets, 3 more rounds of this very fun stuff. So if you are somebody who is still working on your hip thrusts, maybe you find like the double leg hip thrusts really challenging, or maybe you have some pre-existing stuff going on in your knees or your hips that is not allowing you to do this, as strong as you want to do it. There's a couple things that you can do is, rather than extending your leg out, we know that this is going to be a little bit more manageable, okay? So if you're trying it like this, and it's not happening and it feels kind of awkward, what you can do is tuck this knee in and do them like this, with eventually the intention of trying to push that leg out. So even if it's out a little bit more, the goal eventually is to get it in line with that other leg But if that doesn't happen today, that's okay, all right? Because you're doing 12 per side, so it might be quite challenging to get all 12 on each side with that straightened out leg. There you go. And I would like you to try, as always. As always. Okay. Perfect. So we'll work through those ones. Okay, sitting down onto that bench, that chair. Now, if you don't have something that's about the height of your knee, this one's not going to work so well. Because if it's any higher, like if your chair or bench is higher, then we sit down and we're not getting to 90 degrees like I am if I go down here like this. And if it's any lower, well, then I have to sit way lower than 90 degrees to touch it. So if you don't have the most ideal chair or bench, you can totally do this without a chair or bench. Just think about all those same things, same tightness in the legs, and we will go through your set. 15 reps. Okay, there you go. Let's do it. You're just not scared of anything, are you? Okay. Very nice. Step number 3. Okay, so we'll try to get going on to that third round. We have about 4 minutes to finish up this last set, last couple sets here, and then we will be on the floor for the core. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Yes, yes. Let's get it. Third set. Okay. Try to get going through these ones. So this bench squat or chair squat, whatever you would like to call it, this is a great option as well for those of you who do have sensitive knees, or if you ever have a time in your life where you have sore knees, because that just happens in life, because we're people and we do things, and sometimes we get sore knees. This is a great option because what we can do is really focus on sticking our butt back and pushing our hips back and maintaining a more upright position in our shins, rather than without the chair, where we tend to kind of push the knees forward a bit more, which does put pressure on the knees, which is completely fine for everyone, unless you have something going on in there, okay? If you have sore knees, or if you have a pre-existing injury in there, then you might feel this a bit more than me, for example, because I don't have anything in there. And so in that case, you can always think about this option here as something that you can do to kind of take some pressure off of the knees. And you feel it, okay? You're feeling the back of the legs, the back of the hips, because we kind of have that moment at the bottom to squeeze and pull ourselves out of that squat. All right. So last set, my friends. We'll take about 2 more minutes to get through it. And then we are hanging out on the floor. All about our core and our abs down there today, which is nice because last day was quite hip focused. We did those half side planks. Do not worry, those are not happening today. We'll be back next day. There you go. So last part here. Again, I will give you just under 2 minutes. I'm just going to set our timer so that I do not have to do it after. Perfect. So once you are finished this part, which you still have about 1 more minute left to go, we are going to hang out on the floor and work our core. Set our timer here, and that's always good news because it means you don't have to count your reps. You just have to do the work until you hear the beep. But before we do that, we'll finish up this part, and as well, we will clear out some space because we will need some space for this final part. So we'll get those squats in, all 15 of them. Okay, same thing. If you want to kind of take your time a little bit more, slow this final set down. You know it's going to make it a bit more challenging, especially if we slow that lowering phase down. Okay, 15 of them. And then we are moving on. All right. Okay, let's do it. 15 of them. Very nice. Last set. Excuse me. All right. All right. So last part takes us 12 minutes, which is what we have left until our time is up. Okay, so I will give you about 1 more minute to finish up. I will start talking about the final part, which is our core work. Okay, it's all down on the floor, and we are staying down on the floor. So I'm going to angle us down to stay because we are not going to be standing, just hanging out down here, working off of this here timer. Now, today we have 3 exercises. One of them is a double-sided movement. We are going to complete 3 sets total of these ones. So we have to make sure that all of these reps count, all of these sets count, because we're only doing them 3 times. We're working off of a timer, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So we'll have 40 seconds to work, 20 seconds to rest, okay? And these ones, if I do say so myself, are going to be a little bit more intense than our normal core exercises. We're going to crank it up a notch, which is why we have this time format of double the amount of work that we do rest, which is a little bit more rest than we're used to. So let's start off with this first one. I'll explain the other ones on the timer, but let's get this first one done, which starts on our back, all the way down on the floor here. First thing we're going to do is squish our lower back into the floor, lift our legs up and straighten them out like this. Now we know our toe touch, which is when we reach our hands back and we touch our toes. What we're going to do today is incorporate a bit of leg movement. So we're going to have the legs go down until we feel challenged, okay? So everyone's going to look different. I don't presume many of us will be going all the way down to the floor, but we want to go down so that we feel challenged to keep our back down. We're still able to keep the back down, but it's much more feeling back there than if we were to just keep our legs in one position. So we're trying to think about slightly opening up like this, and then exhale and crunching together, okay? So let's start this party. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. First one, let's do it. Okay, so legs are straight. You can have a little bit of a bend in the knees, and then we'll exhale and crunch up. Just gonna give myself a bit more space behind me, and we'll lower the legs. Okay, some of us, again, can come all the way down, whereas others maybe won't even move that much. Just enough so that you're really feeling it's challenging to keep your back down. Okay, but you still need to do it, no matter what. And if you can't do it, move the legs, then don't move your legs. Okay, just focus on that crunch. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, so sit on up here, because this is the next one, and this is the double-sided one I was talking about. What we want to do is sit up, walk our hips back, so we're right on our sit bones, the bottom of our butt, and then we're going to lean back, have our hands come back like this, and we're working with one side at a time, where I'm going to cross and then touch my foot. So this elbow is just going to stay back here. I cross and bring the knee and elbow together, and then I touch the foot. So we'll work with this one resetting in between. I reset, and then I reach for the foot, reset, and then I reach for that knee. Now, if you need to make it easier, you can have this foot stay down, and this one will do the moving. Okay, if it's still too hard, this hand can go down. Okay, and then I have a bit of support from that hand as well. And we are working here 10 more seconds. Yeah. Kind of caught you off guard a little on this one, maybe. We've done this one before. And a rest. Woo! Okay, so we have to do our other side. So we're going to switch sides, okay? So same thing. You're already in your starting position. We'll take a deep breath. Try to lift up those feet, chest up, and 3, 2, 1, and let's go. You want to jump the gun there. All right, let's go. Let's do it. So we're working through these and trying to reset the leg and the hand. Cross, reset. Now, some of us are going to be able to touch our elbow and our knee and our hand and our foot, whereas others, maybe not so much. Maybe our limbs are longer, maybe we're a little bit tighter, we're not as mobile. So just try to go in that direction. 15 seconds left, okay? Yes, yes, yes. You got this. You do. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, we have one more, and it's a flipperoo into a plank position. We're going to be on our forearms and on our toes, and then we're putting ourselves into our long lever plank. So I'm going to walk my feet back. I actually need to be on my mat. I have a dog bun in my face. Okay, so plank position, one and down, normal plank. Okay, but what I want you to try to do is walk your feet back so that your shoulders are sitting behind your elbows rather than on top of your elbows, all right? So we'll see if we can hold that there for the next 25 seconds. When in doubt, just hold the plank, okay? You don't have to do the long lever because that other stuff is really hard. By the time you get here, just normal plank might be hard enough, okay? But if there's any part of you that thinks you can do it, try to walk your feet back. 10 seconds left. See if you can, okay? 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, second set. So we're going back into that first one, which is those toe touches. All right, 10 seconds. So we have 2 more rounds, and then we're done. Woo-hoo. All right, legs up, arms up, deep breath. Here we go. Reaching the hands and the legs down, and then coming up into the center. So we'll work through our second set. Very nice. Okay. So get going. 10 seconds left here, you guys. You've got this. Okay, low back into the floor. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, come on up here for the second one. I know this one's the hardest one, this middle one here. So put it in the middle. Don't just start with it. Don't just finish with it. All right, so we'll try to walk those hips back. That does make a big difference because if you don't walk your hips back like this, you're going to be kind of sitting on your tailbone back here, and you'll probably feel like you're going to fall like this the whole time. Okay, so walk them back, chest up, legs up, hands back, and let's go. Okay, timer is started. So have you. Let's do it. Again, if you can't quite get this done, you can keep that foot down, and eventually, if you need to, you can put that hand down. Okay, we're going to feel a lot of work, not only in your core, but also in your hip and in the top of your leg here, okay, in your quad. So if you're feeling that, that's part of the deal. 10 seconds left. You got this. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we're going to switch sides. The other side. Taking this nice 20 seconds of rest, which you probably understand now why this is in here, because we need it between these exercises. They are quite challenging. All right, other side, and let's go. Okay, let's do it. Same thing. Okay, chest is high. Trying to move through the torso. You got it. 30 seconds left. Okay, breathing through this one. We're trying to work with other side, chest up. There it is. Okay, 15 seconds left. Oh yeah. And when in doubt, you can breathe that foot down, that hand down, but try to stay with us. 10 seconds. There you go. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, flip over. a plank position. Okay, so a couple deep breaths. We're gonna need them. We're gonna need something to help us get through this. Breathing typically helps core movement, especially planking, because it can be quite tedious. Here we go. But you know, watching the clock or counting in your head, those things, they don't make the time pass so fast. Whereas breathing, I find, does. You focus on taking nice deep inhales and exhales, long deep breaths. Typically, it will kind of make that time go a little bit faster than if you're not doing that. Breathing also will overall help make it feel a little bit easier on your body, rather than holding our breath or taking really shallow, short breaths. Your body loves oxygen. We all know this, especially when it's doing something challenging like this. So give it to it by breathing. 3, 2, and time. Okay, we have one more set to make it 3, which you're probably thankful for right now. It's not 4. Third set, and then we are done. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a few stretches that you can do on your own today, but this is going to be it, our final round, our final set of our core, and that was the starting beat. So here we go. The short 20 last round. These ones. You got this. You do. Trying to exhale. See if you can get those legs a little bit lower, okay? But you're in full control. That low back's always down, okay, no matter where you are. 10 more seconds. Nice work. 3, 2, 1, and okay. Okay. So come on up here. Come on up. Have a seat. Walk your hips back. Let's get it. Okay, definitely the hardest one. Our V-cross touch, hands back, feet up, and let's go. Okay, last set, the third set of these ones. So we're working through it, knowing that this is our last set. And maybe trying to go a little bit slower, not rushing them, just trying to keep your chest up a bit higher. You're halfway there. Okay, 20 more seconds and you'll be done this side. I cannot say all the way done because we have to do the other side still, but almost. Okay, 10 seconds. Let's go. There it is. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, 20 seconds of rest. And then we just switch sides. And then maybe the last one. Okay, so getting yourself ready for that second side, starting in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Let's do it. Okay, something here along the lines. Trying your best to keep your chest up. Okay, working through 30 more seconds of it. Pacing yourself so that you do not have to stop. Okay, even if you're going a little bit slower, even if your foot is down, your hand is down, or maybe you're just holding it, whatever you're doing, 20 more seconds, stay with us. Don't give up on yourself on this exercise because you can do this. Ooh, we're having a little light flash in here. We made it though. It's a little stormy out there. It always gets a bit weird. 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, flip over, final one, the plank. Best for last. Maybe, maybe not. We're gonna get this done, okay, 40-second plank hold, which is, not the hardest thing we've done in the world. We've done longer, which is why we're trying to do that long lever, because trying to make this 40 seconds really challenging. Here we go. So holding a plank for the next 40 seconds with us, staying as strong as you can. Even if it's just a normal, regular old plank, okay? That is amazing at this point. As long as your knees aren't down, you're not flopped down on the floor yet. Not yet. Okay, we can do that, but 20 more seconds. We need you here with us. So get back up there if you are down. And just try to do something to get through 10 more seconds. Here we go. So close. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. And we are done. All right. So what we're going to do today is leave you with a few stretches. The first one's actually down here, okay? So first thing you can do is, you're already here, kind of in this position, so get up onto your hands and knees. You can work with some of our cat-cat, where we push our ribs down, arch our back, look up into the ceiling, and then round our back, tuck our chin, look down into the floor. We can do really as many of these as we want, anywhere between 3 to 5, maybe even 10 of these, taking our time and loosening up our back and our core. You'll feel this in the front and the back. When you're done, you can sit on your heels, walk your hands away to this child's pose position. Just going to open up your low back, upper back, the whole back. You can hang out here for about a minute and stretch this out. From here, we can go into this one. Okay, so again, I'm just going to show you guys these today. This is our pigeon stretch for the glute. We're going to be stretching the butt cheek on this front side, which is going to feel very nice after all that stuff that we did. Now, if you're someone who has sensitive knees, this is not going to be the most comfortable thing. So rather than this, or if you want to do this one instead, just because you like it better, you can flip around into this one here, and we'll hold this here for about 60 seconds. Again, it's going to give you that nice opening stretch through the back of the hips. And it feels so good after all of the stuff that we did in this session today. So you can do this one, do the other side. Anything else, my friends, that you would like to stretch, please feel free to throw in. Okay, so nice and warm. Now is the perfect time to stretch your body, all right? Do all that stuff. Hopefully you guys feel good. And thank you so much for joining me on this Monday. You guys are done with me. Love having you all here in the Zoom room. And Theo is sleeping now. So that was fun. He's awake for the class. Now he's done. Anyways, thank you guys so much. We'll be back tomorrow for upper body. And I will see you guys then. Have a great day. Bye. And of course, if you are watching the replay, please drop a comment below so that I know you're here. Okay, bye.